Hey guys, welcome to mini stretch series number 2. Today is going to be all about your hips, your groin. So if you ever feel like you have any inner thigh tightness, if your hips are tight, today is the day you want to pay attention to these stretches. It's going to be a follow through where I'm going to hold the whole duration of the stretch for the entire length, so that way you can just throw this video on, follow along, in 20 minutes you're done. Hopefully your hips will feel really nice and open. So all you need today, maybe something padded for your knees. I also have these like sliders. There is going to be a couple moves that we're going to want to be able to like have padding on our knees, where we can also slide. So maybe if you don't have sliders, you can use a towel, socks, piece of fabric, whatever works for you. So right now, let's get started. We're going to start, and I'll keep the time over here. We're going to start with internal rotation. So you can either set up in a 90-90 position like this. I like to straighten this front leg. I feel like this is much more comfortable. Now, this leg is going to want to be at a 90-degree angle. You should feel no tension in the front of this knee. If there is, then you're not in the right spot, or you're pushing too hard too soon. So your hips might not even be able to get on the ground. I have pretty good internal rotation position, but ideally we're trying to sink this hip into the floor. Our torso stays nice and tall, and we want to rotate towards that front leg. I guess back leg. That we're stretching. So we're working internal rotation. You should feel a nice stretch in the front there. Some people might feel this in the back of the hamstring. That's okay too. But the goal is we're holding this for the full 2 minutes. We've already been here for a full minute. So now we're just going to press a little bit more into the stretch. You should be feeling you're at about a 7 out of 10. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 is you're not feeling the stretch, 10 is you're going to break in half. We want to be at about a 7, 8 for right now. So just make sure that you're breathing, making sure that you think about releasing any other tension in the body. This might be hard for you, but the more that you do this stretch, the more that you'll see, you'll gain a lot of benefits from opening up your internal rotators. So we have 30 seconds left here. And as you go through, just keep checking in with how much you're rotating, how straight your spine is. Again, there's modifications for leaning back as well. You can always lean back if this feels like a nice stretch. Whatever is going to get you the good stretch here. 5 more seconds in this position. See if you can rotate just a little bit more. Press that hip down just a little bit more. Good, and then let's go ahead and switch. So now we're going to go. Again, you can either be in a 90-90 position. If this is too much, if you can't get the hip down on the ground, you can always lean back. We'll show it like this. Or I like to keep this front leg open. I feel like that's really comfortable for me. This leg at about a 90-degree angle. There should be no pain in this knee right here. There is. You need to either pull back a little bit, so lean back away from the stretch. But ideally, you want to get nice and tall. And if this is a really uncomfortable position for you, then this is something that you need to work on, okay? Telling you internal rotation will change the game. So we've already been here for about 30 seconds. Stand nice and tall. Think about smiling as you do this too. Smiling always makes things a little bit easier. Rotate those shoulders towards this knee. You also might have a difference between sides. That's totally normal. Everybody is made a little bit different. We all use our bodies slightly different. Everyone is not perfectly symmetrical, so that's okay. If you find you have a wide variety in this, it might be good to try to work on the stretch to even it out a little bit. About 15 seconds left here. Go nice and tall. Again, if you're back here, that's fine as long as you're feeling a nice stretch and you're not feeling any blockage happening. All right, go ahead and slowly come out of that. We're now going to work on the external rotator. So we're going to do a seated piriformis stretch. We're going to cross our leg here. This other leg crosses the knee. What we we want to try to do, sit up nice and tall, take this hand, grab the knee, and so you're going to pull it towards you. This knee is actually going to pull towards this opposite shoulder. And then grab nice and tall and twist. So we're going to hold here for full 2 minutes. You should be feeling a nice deep stretch in the back of the butt area there, in the middle. And as you go through the stretch, as this opens up, you just want to keep pulling this knee in towards you and twisting. There's other variations. If this isn't a great stretch for you, I'll do other mini stretch series where we tackle the piriformis in a slightly different way. Okay, we've been here 1 minute, so we have 1 minute longer. Again, we should be on a stretch or a number from 1 to 10. We should be at about a 7 or an 8, so keep intensifying that stretch as you go through it. Breathe. See if you can release any tightness. It's not necessary. Good, and we have 30 seconds left here. Keep checking in. I can pull this a little tighter so that I'm readjusting myself so I can keep that nice stretch. 15 seconds left. And that's it. Go ahead and slowly come out of that. Switch sides. Same thing, this leg tucks underneath. This one crosses the other leg. This shoulder, you're trying to pull to this opposite side that you're stretching. And we sit up nice and tall here. Again, you should feel a deep stretch in the glute. Good, keep rotating, we're at 30. Keep rotating, we're at 30 seconds. Good, we have 1 minute left here. Keep pulling tight. Keep pressing tall, rotating. You're letting your spine get taller as you rotate. We don't want to crunch back here. We want to close the gap between our abs and our thigh. We have 30 seconds left. Don't let yourself get out of the stretch. Keep intensifying it all the way to the end. 15 seconds left here. Good, and you can slowly come out of that. Excellent, so now we're gonna work on your adductors and we're gonna go through what's called the frog stretch. So this is where you can either be on a slidey surface or you can have little sliders. This is what I'm gonna do, but our goal is to keep the pelvis, we're trying to keep an arch in our back and our pelvis tilted this way. So throughout the whole bit of the stretch. So if you find yourself tucking, really try to work that opposite direction so don't lose that arch. So you're gonna place your knees on sliders for a towel, and we're gonna allow this to come all the way down. Now our knees should be in line with our hips. Our heels should be in line with our knees, so we don't wanna let them tuck in this way, we wanna keep them out. Okay, our hands, ideally, we wanna keep our chest up like this. So we're gonna go ahead and start the timer here. We're holding 2 minutes, but we're gonna do this one slightly different. So we're gonna hold passively for 1 minute here. Keep thinking about that arch, keep thinking about torso up, chest tall, look up, it helps. Your gaze will actually help you keep that chest taller. And then keep checking in with the pelvis, what the pelvis is doing. Now, make sure that you breathe through this. This one can be pretty intense for people. A lot of people are very tight in this area. So always a good idea. This is always going to be a good one to just throw on and follow along to. So we're halfway there already, and again, we're just passively going through this. The next 30 seconds, the last minute that we're going to hold this, I want you to think about squeezing the knees towards the floor. So you're almost thinking about moving them together, closing the gap between your legs for about 5-10 seconds, and then we're going to think about squeezing the glutes and allowing the adductors to relax, and we're using the glutes to open up the knees even more. So let's go ahead and go through that. So with a gradual increase in intensity, go ahead and ramp up a contraction. So think about squeezing, pressing the knees into the floor for 5 to 10 seconds. Good, and then when we relax, we think about squeezing the glutes. Now it's gonna be kind of hard if you've never done this before. You might not find that connection. Just keep working, just keep thinking about squeezing the glutes, see what can happen. The idea is to pull the knees further apart. And we press into the floor, 5 to 10 seconds. Ramp up that contraction, and then we relax, squeeze the glutes farther away. And again, press the knees into the floor, thinking about driving the knees together, activating the adductors, and then relax as we deepen into the position, squeeze the glutes. Nice. And go ahead and slowly come out of that one. That one can be intense, so take your time when you transition positions. So the next thing we're gonna do is frog rocks. I'm just gonna demonstrate this. You don't have to move, but I'm gonna demonstrate this from the side for you guys. We wanna keep the same position of the torso and the arch of the pelvis as we go through this. But what we're doing, you can see this is how we would just help holding our frog stretch. Now what we're gonna do is walk ourselves forward. So we'll bring our hips actually in front of our knees. You can see that for a few seconds. And then we're gonna press our hips as far back as we can towards our heels. So you can see we're going through extension of the hips and flexion of the hips. So we're just getting a little more dynamic with the stretch. And we're gonna do this one for 1.5 minutes. We've already been doing it for about 30 seconds. Take your time. Each part of the movement should feel controlled. And each time you go through, see if you can press back a little bit your hips closer to your heels. Good, we have 15 seconds left here. Make sure you're working the whole time. Don't be complacent in any position, really push it. Slowly come out of that one. That one can be a toughie. The last one that we're doing today is called the half split. Just use something that has padding for underneath your knee, and I'm going to use a slider. You can use a towel, a shirt, whatever you got laying around. So this is going to be similar to our frog stretch that we did. We're going to hold this position where this is going to be half of our frog stretch. So this is the position of our bent leg. The heel should be in line with the knee. Now this leg, toes forward, your heel should try to stay on the ground, and then your ankle should be in line with your hip or a little bit in front of it, but not behind or too far in front. So mostly just we're looking for toe directly outside of your hip. So the same thing with the torso, your chest stays up, and we're just holding this position. Okay, and it's okay if you're not this far. If you're here right now, cool, as long as you're feeling a really nice stretch of that adductor. Good, we've been here for 30 seconds already. So we're gonna have 30 more seconds in this position. And what we're gonna do for the next bit, just like the frog, we're gonna go through some contractions. So I want you to think about pulling, squeezing, pressing the foot into the floor as we actually lift out of this, and then we're gonna slide back out. So let's go ahead and start that. So we think about pressing the foot into the ground, walk a little bit in off of the stretch, and then we're gonna open back up again. Think about squeezing the glutes to allow that to open up if you can connect that already. We're gonna go through this for the full minute. So we're coming in and out. Squeeze the glute. See if you can widen the stance of your legs a little bit. As you come in, press the foot into the ground, get a little bit of activation. And we're gonna have about 30 seconds left here, wait a little bit less than that. We'll switch to the other side. Back up, and out. When you're at this bottom position, I want you to sit there for a second so you can really feel it. And back up, one more. Open up, so you can get a little bit further. And press all the way in. Nice. Shake it out. I know this one can be tough, especially if you're very tight in the adductors or the inner thighs. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So 1 full minute of just passive stretch. And then a minute of activations, moving in and out, a little bit more dynamic stretch. So same thing, set this leg up. Heel should be directly behind the knee. And then we're going to move over a little bit. Good, so we'll go ahead and hold here for 1 full minute. Same thing, keep thinking about the pelvis, what the pelvis is doing, and chest up. Keep a nice lower back in the arch, nice arch in your lower back. Words, I swear I could speak them. Toes forward. Keep checking in with where your body is. This intensity should be at about a 7 out of 10. All right, so now we're gonna start moving it. So we're gonna walk in, press the heel or the toe into the ground, the foot in the ground. And then as you come out, I want you to think about activating and squeezing that glute a little bit to open up the leg a little bit more. And again, up. And open. And up. Open. Careful that that toe doesn't go anywhere too crazy, so too far in front of you or too far behind you. It should stay in line with your hip. We have 20 seconds left here. Down. 10 seconds. And we're just gonna sit here for the last 5 seconds, see if you can get a little bit deeper in. And slowly come on out of that. Great work. That's it for today. That was our 15-20 minute mini stretch series for the hips and the groin. Check back with me. We'll have another variation probably in a few weeks here. But let me know if you have any questions.